I retired at 42 and we sold our house to live full-time in an RV.
Come along as we share our story of how we've been called to journey.
I'm Will, and I grew up in Mississippi. My parents and I always loved to travel. Some of our favorite memories were visiting the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and Disney World.
I'm Angela, and I grew up near the swamps of South Louisiana. We traveled to Quebec every summer in our old Allegro motorhome to visit my parents' family. Of course, naps were the best part of these long road trips.
We met when Angela's family moved to Mississippi. At the ripe old ages of 19 and 18, we got hitched and spent the next 8 years in college at Mississippi State University.
Even during these financially lean years, we still managed to keep the travel bug satisfied.
In 2009, I graduated with my PhD in business, and Angela received her degree in elementary education.
Will became a professor at the University of North Dakota, where we spent 5 chilly winters. Talk about a change from the South.
Having summers off provided us with a big chunk of time to travel both in the USA and overseas.
Our first RV experience together was in 2013 when we rented a little 14-foot travel trailer. This trip through the Pacific Northwest caused us to fall in love with this area of the country and convinced us that we wanted to have our own RV in the future.
The very next year, I took a teaching job at Eastern Washington University in Spokane, Washington. We quickly fell in love with our new home state, bought our first RV, and began exploring the area.
After struggling with infertility for years, God grew our family through adoption.
Yeah, you've been such a good girl today. Yeah, you know? Yeah, I know.
Kaylee Patience was born in 2015, and our lives were forever changed.
Travel was a lot more interesting now with a little one in tow. When Kaylee was only a year old, we took an epic trip to Northern California.
The art pod was great, but we were planning on adopting a second child. It would have been too small with 4 people, so we sold it. As it turned out, God intended for Kaylee to be our only child.
During the next 4 years, we continued traveling by plane and by car, but we missed the conveniences of RV travel. In the summer of 2020, we decided to rent a Class C motorhome to visit Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons.
Going so high!
Having all our stuff with us all the time, especially our kitchen and bathroom, was a huge plus. It was an amazing trip, and after 9 days, none of us wanted to go home.
That fall, we took a road trip in our little SUV to the Southwest. While we had a fantastic time touring the area, our experiences with hotels and restaurants ranged from okay to bad, despite both being quite expensive.
Having traveled both with and without an RV in the span of a few months, we far preferred the familiar comforts and stability of RV travel. This trip solidified our decision to buy a motorhome.
In 2021, we purchased a Winnebago Trend, a 24-foot Class C motorhome. Our new little vacation home on wheels took us to several local places that first year. Your idea! At the end of every adventure, we wished we had planned more time.
We decided to tackle a 2-month-long journey to Colorado in 2022. This state completely blew us away, and it was the best vacation we had ever had.
That fall, I was able to teach online, which allowed us to take a bucket list trip to witness the fall colors in New England. Stunning does not even begin to describe the magic of this place.
She's tickling.
Well, when we came back from these trips to Colorado and New England, we kept reliving what we had just been through that year. And the thought kept popping up in our minds, could we do this full time? Should we live in an RV full time? And the thought honestly really scared us at the very beginning because it made absolutely no sense. Will was a professor and he taught 9 months out of the year. That gave us summers off, but we still longed for more than that. And especially being in New England during the fall, we realized how much we loved being out in the off season, having fewer crowds, having milder weather. It really turned into our favorite time of year to travel.
And then winter came. And the winter of 2022 to 2023, it was tough. And we got cabin fever big time. All of us did.
Kaylee actually came up to me one day. I was sitting at the computer and she was just kind of sulking around and I said, "Sweetheart, what is wrong?" And she said, "I don't know, but I think I'm travel sick." And I looked at Will and I'm like, that's it. We're all travel sick. That's what's wrong with us. And a week later we were in the car and she said, "Mommy, I miss the ocean." And I said, "What do you mean you miss playing in the ocean?" She said, "No, I miss the sound of the waves and I miss the smell of the seawater." And it broke our hearts because we realized we really missed the ocean too. We just didn't know how to put it into words. She's always had wanderlust as much as we have. When she was little, we would go somewhere for a day trip and we'd get in the car to go home and she'd say, "But Mommy, I want to go to another place." So God sure put her in the right family.
We all have had the travel bug pretty much our whole lives.
Yeah.
And once we were able to take these extended trips where we're not gone for a week or 2 weeks, we're gone for 2 months or longer, it's like, wow, we're not just tourists, we're travelers. And we get to really experience places in a deeper way than we had ever done before. And it was like, yes, this is what we want. This is what we've been yearning for so long.
And as a family, we were the happiest together in our little 24-foot RV, crammed in there for months at a time. Ready?
First is Daddy, since he's the biggest. Push, Daddy.
Push it.
Okay, push it.
Daddy, you get to push it first. Now it's your turn, Mommy.
Okay, all right. Whoop, and you do the other side.
Probably the biggest question we were asking ourselves when we were thinking about all of this is money. It's a huge deal. What are we going to do? How are we going to financially be able to pull this off? If you've seen our Alaska videos, especially our recap, you've probably figured out that we're pretty frugal people. And it doesn't mean that we just refuse to spend money on anything. That's not what we're talking about. We just mean that we are really careful to spend money on things that are really important to us and to pretty much sidestep everything else.
We've never have been one to have name brand clothing or expensive cars or, the biggest house in the neighborhood. Our house was 1,200 square feet. It was beautiful, but it was small. We are really big into finding deals. We're big into waiting until things go on sale before we buy them. We are very much minimalist. We don't like a lot of stuff. Will teases me all the time. My favorite thing to do is go through our stuff and get rid of something. It's so much fun.
Kaylee at times is like, "Mommy,
don't get rid of my stuff." But for me, and I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or if it's just because my brain works this way, but the more clutter is in my home, the more cluttered my mind feels. And so we've always kind of lived a life of minimalism.
During the last several years of my working at a university as a business professor, my satisfaction with work and my university, higher education in general, had really gone down. We are Christians. Being followers of Jesus is the central aspect of our lives. Being a Christian in higher education has become more difficult in recent years. That's not to say that, Christians shouldn't be part of higher education. I think that they should be, and I think there should be more. But we just felt that God really had other plans in store for me and for our family.
And even though he had a wonderful job with summers off, we were still years away from Will being able to retire. We had been saving aggressively for a long time. We had paid off our mortgage years before. We were hoping to retire early. not quite this early.
And for me, the prospect of years and years of doing more work for 9 months out of the year that I didn't enjoy at all, and then all of our traveling being limited to just summers only, that wasn't something that I really looked forward to at all, and Angela really didn't either. She was extremely supportive of me through all of this. She was pushing me to retire much more so than I felt really at liberty to myself.
Well, retiring in your early 40s is a scary thing. I mean, it's very much abnormal. It is not what most people do, and so there was an element of fear about it. You know, how are we going to do this financially? But all in all, it came down to a matter of trusting the Lord to take care of us.
So trying to make both of these things work, us being able to travel the way we wanted to, and for me to have the flexibility with work, I approached the folks at my university and tried to work it out so that I would only be teaching online. And I got a hard no. They were like, no, we've done online, we're not doing that, we're going back to in-person. And if you want to keep working here, that's what you've got to do. So I was like, okay, well, that was a pretty clear signal from the Lord that that was not the direction He wanted us to take. Our original plan had been for me to keep working long enough so that we could keep our house, keep Winnie, and we would just continue traveling as we had been. But if I was going to be retiring at 42, that financially just wasn't going to work. Like many people have been in the last several years, we experienced incredible home appreciation. Our house had doubled in value in the last 8 years.
Never mind whether or not we were home to enjoy our house, we still had to pay money to keep the house. We had to pay money to insure it. We had to pay property taxes, which was not cheap in Washington State. We had to pay someone to mow the lawn while we were gone. We had to pay for maintenance and repairs. So it cost a lot of money just to keep the house, even though we didn't have a mortgage on it.
In fact, it actually cost us about $10,000 a year just to keep the house. And then by selling the house, that also enabled us to free up that home equity and then be able to invest that to help to increase our income.
Well, after months and months of lots of back and forth conversations, telling ourselves we are crazy, and a ton of prayer, we decided in January of 2023 that we were going to take a leap of faith. We were going to sell our house, turn our lives completely upside down, and live in an RV. Some people thought it was awesome. A few people thought we were crazy. I'm sure some of you do as well. But for our family, we knew this was the right decision. We had already lived in an RV months at a time, you know, all crammed together in a small space, and we were happy as clams.
We really wanted that freedom, that flexibility that we got with the RV, and things like the cushy job, the nice house didn't really matter to us that much anymore.
And once we made the decision, we had perfect peace about it. It
Absolutely.
was such a weight lifted off of our shoulders.
Yes. Although we love traveling, and that is the primary reason why we've chosen to go down this path, that doesn't necessarily mean full-time travel. It doesn't mean we're going to be on the road 12 months out of the year.
So having a home base here in Spokane Valley is going to be huge for us. Our plan is to take, extended trips and to be gone 2 or 3 months at a time, and then to come home and stay put here for a while so that we can stay plugged into church, we can keep those relationships with our friends and family going, and to give Kaylee the stability of having a home.
You really need that time to just mentally sort of recharge. Yeah. You need that time to do some maintenance, to do some repairs,
to go to doctor's appointments and get your teeth cleaned and
yep,
get
it's
your
hard
eyes
to
checked.
do that if you are on the road 12 months out of the year.
Right.
Hi. This is my closet where I used to have a lot of stuff. Good times in this house. I used to hide in here. They almost never found me. Now what are you doing?
Getting keys ready to give to the new owner.
Hi, guys.
All right, tell everybody what we're doing.
We're moving
Out of our house that we've been in for 8 years.
8 years and counting, the only house she's ever known.
Yeah.
And we're gonna sell it so we can do what?
Full-time RV.
So we can make lots more memories in a different house. A house that moves with us wherever we go, right?
Yeah. Bye. Bye, house. Join us down the road for a tour of our new home. And until next time, enjoy your journey.